What is going on, everybody? This is Catfish on Ice. This is episode 174 with Chad Minton and Rich Howe, coming to you from Key West, Florida. At least
So you
myself
are.
is.
I'm not.
You're still up in the great state of
I'm in
Kentucky,
the
Commonwealth of Kentucky.
The Commonwealth of Kentucky. The one day it's 70, the next day it's 30. Commonwealth of Kentucky. You're down in the nice weather, I'm assuming.
So you know what? We couldn't miss an episode this week. It wasn't going to happen on my watch. There's too much going on here with the Nashville Predators, and we're going to have an episode tonight because it's just the stories write themselves right now when it comes to this team.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is. Sure. And so we're going to have an episode tonight. It's kind of an out of the ordinary episode. I didn't know if we were going to do an episode this week. I'll be totally honest, because I am on a little bit of a getaway vacation, and it's nice because it's my first real vacation in like 5 years.
There you go.
I love this team. I love talking about this team. I love everybody that follows along with us. And
Absolutely.
so there was no way I was going to miss this week's episode in all retrospect, because there's so much going on right now. So first of all, Rich, let me ask you, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Yeah, not as good as you down there. Have you seen any pirates yet? Are there pirates down there? No pirates?
No, unfortunately. I've seen a lot of chickens.
So they're doing that. Oh, I've seen your pictures. They just wander around.
The chickens roam the streets. The chickens rule here. So
free food. Roaming the streets.
You know, in the United States of America, we love our chickens. We love chicken. I love chicken. But in Key West, everybody, if you've never been, let me give you a little bit of a quick reminder here. If you're going to come in the future, the chickens own Key West. They are protected. They walk the streets. You hear them cockadoodling doing all across. I mean, it's nonstop. I mean, it's hilarious. They're not afraid of humans at all. They don't realize how evil we are and how we eat them. They don't know anything about Kentucky Fried Chicken. And you live in Kentucky. How terrible of a person you are, Rich.
That's right. So have you been to did you go to Ernest Hemingway's house?
I'm doing that tomorrow.
Are you? Yeah.
I'm doing that tomorrow. That's my last full day here is tomorrow, and that's on the docket.
So a little fun fact.
I would love a fun fact.
They have lots of cats stay at the Ernest Hemingway house, and they have extra toes on their feet. Did you know that?
All right, I did not know that. Thank you for spoiling it. But
well, I mean, you're going to find out anyway. But yeah, so he had cats that had like extra toes on their feet, and they're still at the house at the Key West house, I believe. So you got that to look forward to.
I'll look forward to that. So some of the things I have done, first of all, before we get into the Nashville Predators talk, I am down here in Key West. I'm in this little small boutique type style hotel, very small room. I got this weird picture behind me. I don't know. It's like some random person standing on a beach and with a palm trees.
That's cool.
It's very, it's a nice little hotel. Very, very quaint, very cozy, if you will. Key West is amazing. It's so clean. I can't get over how clean. Think about New Orleans, and this is no disrespect to New Orleans or anyone who's from there, but think New Orleans only 100 times cleaner.
I've heard stories.
Tons of live music everywhere. As long as you can get over the heat, it is extremely hot, and the sun is obviously a lot stronger because you're closer to the equator. But so much history. I am so into history. Cool. There's more history that you can really take in. I mean, basically every little house you walk by down here
very cool
has a story to it. It has a plaque in front of the home. Very old Victorian style homes. You see a lot of the history and stuff. So it's really cool. I highly recommend it for anyone who's never been here. It's a really great town.
Listen up. We said things like equator and six-toed cats. We got lots of information tonight. So
Yeah, we're getting smart here. We're getting smart. Outside of hockey, we're getting very smart here. So we'll say you asked me what I've done, Rich, since I've been here.
Awesome.
I went to the Fort Zachary Taylor.
Yep. Civil War fort.
Never knew about this. Never knew about this fort. Was never used. Was built by the military during the Civil War.
Yep.
Was a strategic winner for the Union. Got to see all these real life cannons that they never had to use or they only used for practice. Was so cool. The whole fort is still there intact.
Yeah.
It gives you goosebumps when you walk in and you see the living quarters of the troops that were living there. So that was cool. And then today I saw have you ever heard, Rich, of the Little White House?
No.
So, quote unquote, the Little White House was where President Harry S. Truman lived. He loved Key West so much that he would break away from the White House and stay weeks at a time at what is called the Little White House down here in Key West.
Oh.
And when he became president, when FDR, a little history lesson for all of our Preds fans here listening.
Love the history.
When Harry S. Truman became unexpectedly the president of the United States, when FDR unexpectedly died in office, he unfortunately had to not have a vice president for a little bit. So he had all of this work on his table at once. Never knew that up until today.
I didn't know that either.
And so got a tour of his house. It's called the Little White House down here in Key West, and it is all replicated. Whatever was lost, they have replicated to the T of what it was like when he was living there, and hosted world leaders and all that. Hosted other presidents. JFK was there. Yeah,
that's cool.
Dwight Eisenhower was there. Yeah, very cool. So again, I highly recommend coming down to Key West. It's not all about partying. There's a lot of history here. It's a great place.
History. Yep.
All right, let's get past that here. I am in Key West. It's fun, but we're still doing an episode here. It's Catfish on Ice, episode 174. Kyle Perkins will be jumping in later in this episode to also offer his thoughts. Let's talk about what we're going to be getting into. We had a pretty big game last night. The Nashville Predators snuck away with a win over the Vancouver Canucks in a shootout. Gave up 2 goals in the last 90 seconds. But 2 points are 2 points, though, right, Rich? Is it that simple? Is it that simple?
That's what they say. But, we talk about it all the time. Any team in the NHL can beat any other team on any given night. But the Predators did give up a very huge lead. So, not good, not pretty. But they did win. So, but it came at a cost.
I mean, we're going to break down this game a little bit more, but my first takeaway from it is they got to come out feeling pretty fortunate considering how that game ended in regulation, because that would have probably been a backbreaker. I know a lot of people have already jumped ship and they don't really care what happens from here on out. They just think the team should sell, and I get that. But these games still do matter. There's still a lot of games left. So the team clearly is still trying to win all of these games. David Poyle calls the team, quote unquote, day to day. So he's playing with words here. He's playing with words.
He's like an injury. I get it. I see what he did.
Yeah.
It's like an injury, right?
Day to day. All right. I'm not sure if that makes you feel any better, but we'll see. All right. Going to update my trade board. I said I'm going to do this every week until the trade deadline. My trade board has drastically changed, and I will share it later in this episode, and I'll see what Rich says. This is the 3rd episode in a row where I've done a trade board, my top 5 players that I think are going to be traded on the Predators right now. I have drastically changed my board after this past week.
I think there's a new name being, well, not new, but thrown into the ring. So,
also with that said, Ryan Johansen very unfortunate. They're always unfortunate. When injuries like this happen, it's always unfortunate. It doesn't matter when it happens. You never want to see injuries like this. And as much criticism as we've given Ryan Johansen on this podcast, and as much as the fans have given him criticism for not living up to what he gets paid, it still sucks to see him get hurt, because I know he is a very big leader of this team.
Yeah, even without the performance, he's still a leader for sure. So,
and he's a critical part of this core. Mm-hmm. So how is this going to affect the team moving forward? He's likely out for the rest of this season. I mean, who knows? If the team somehow snuck into the playoffs, maybe he would be able to miraculously come back. That would be a storybook ending.
That would be good.
But it looks like as of now, we're not going to see him again for the rest of this season. So we'll dive more into that. We got to update the playoff odds right now. Preds are now
very slim. Little. It's getting
well.
slimmer.
We got some critical games going on tonight involving the Calgary Flames. We'll keep an eye on that game. They're playing tonight. But as of now, the Preds sit 7 points back of the Wild. I know everyone thinks that the Avalanche are going to cruise their way in, and I'm right there with you. But as of now in the standings, the Predators trail two different teams in the Central by 7 points.
Yep.
And they still have that pathway to making a playoff spot.
Hey, we need to say hi to some folks real quick. Sean Butcher, hello, how's it going?
I like his logo.
I know, it's
Jif
peanut butter. That's awesome.
I need to know the story. Sean, you got to give us a story for why your YouTube avatar is Jif peanut
very
butter.
Cool. And then,
do we want to know?
I want to know. Omar's BP03. I never felt worse after a win. Preds really got away with one last night, and then he said the away afterwards.
No, he's
you're right. They did.
Right.
They lucked out. It was not pretty. We're going to talk about it. So,
yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to talk about the Ryan Johansen injury impact. We got some quick hitters to also touch on to round out this episode. I got a surprise trivia question.
Oh, we like trivia.
For both you and Kyle. Well, Kyle will probably be in the episode by then. If not, then Rich, you're going to have to answer it
by myself.
Ooh.
I don't know about that.
Can't wait to put this one on you. It's a fun one.
I like trivia.
And also, we're going to look at some other teams. We're looking at the trade deadline as it's getting closer. Who are some of the movers? Who are some of the players out there in the league? I'll tell you one team, the St. Louis Blues. I want to get on them a little bit later in that segment. The Blues are one of those teams that we think they're sellers, but
well,
they came out today. They came out today and said, "Hey, not so fast. We're not interested in rebuilding." So we got to talk about that. And then Gary Bettman's back in the news with his love affair with Arizona.
That's crazy. I can't wait. Everybody may already know, but I didn't know until I saw the picture you put in the chat. So
he loves himself some Mullet Arena, and I love that name.
He does love that a lot. I think I just put two and two together. I think I might know why, but we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Well, no, I actually want to hear it now.
You want to hear it right now?
I do.
So when Arizona, you remember Wayne Gretzky was general manager involved with the team. I guarantee you that had something to do with Bettman giving them special consideration that you're going to share. Because you remember he was with them for a long time. He was part of the organization. I don't remember exactly what all his roles were, but
that makes sense.
Might have something to do.
I haven't been looking at attendance levels at Mullet Arena this season. Maybe if you want to look it up right now, Rich. I don't have my secondary laptop with me tonight here in the hotel room. But if you want to look it up, I would be very interested to know what the attendance numbers have been like for the Coyotes this year, because some of the highlights I've seen, it seems like they're getting a lot of support. Now, of course, if you're a college kid going to Arizona State and you can see some NHL hockey, why wouldn't you go? I would go if I was in that situation. So maybe they're doing okay. It's kind of a fun team, honestly. The Coyotes have some good, young, exciting players. Clayton Keller's a fun player to watch. I mean, they've been benching Jacob Chikrin, so who knows what's going to happen with him. But they got a good little young team. They got our guy Connor Ingram out there showing out. So
this says that they're averaging 11,575 people per game.
Okay, but what's the capacity of that? Whatever the capacity is of that arena.
Well, they expanded it. I think it used to only be like 5,000. If this is right, I mean, this might not even be right. I don't even know.
Well, if they're averaging 11,000, honestly, that's not that bad. That's really not that bad, considering what they're up against, considering what they're dealing with. If they're averaging 11,000 plus fans, honestly, that's not that bad.
Yep. It's crazy. Mike Twitter's in here. He said he thinks the capacity is 15,000. At that, really? Wow, that's crazy.
All right. Well, I think, that's interesting to say. I think 11,000, though, honestly, in a college arena, not that bad.
Pretty good. Max Greenberg's here. He said last night, he was there, I think, at the game. Was an exciting one to be at. Yeah, they're all exciting, I think.
Well, let's get into it. First of all, we're brought to you by DraftKings and Raycon. You see them on the screen there if you're watching live on YouTube or Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube or if you feel so obligated to, go hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. It helps a ton. Get notifications. If you're watching on Twitter, hit follow. We'll follow back, and also comment on these live episodes. That's what makes the episode, is when you comment and you build the discussion with us. That's what makes these episodes so fun. All right, guys, let's get into it here with the game over the Canucks. The Preds led for most of the game. Going into it, I didn't have a lot of emotions. I'll be totally honest, one way or the other. I kind of felt like you got two teams. You know, we know what the Canucks are. We know that they have pretty much sold out on the season. And you got a Predators team. Well, you got a Predators team that doesn't know what they are yet, and that's what ticks off a lot of the fans. So going into this game, for me personally, then I'm going to ask you how you felt about it, Rich. Going into it, I was just kind of numb. Like, I'm always going to love watching the Predators play. Yeah, I don't care where they're at. I love watching hockey, and I love watching the Predators. I can't help it. But going into this game, I will be honest, I was very numb. I was like, whatever happens, happens here. You know? How did you feel about it going into it?
So I feel the exact same way, because we're on like year 3 or 4 of them having to claw their way into the playoffs. And at this point, like you said, you're just kind of numb. You're like, you know, we're in the exact same spot we were last year. We didn't know if they were going to make the playoffs, but it's slimmer chances this year. But yeah, it's the same way. It's at the point of the season where, like, you know, nothing is going to surprise me. Like, them blowing that lead didn't really surprise me, truthfully, the way this season's gone. So numb, pretty much just like you are. So it's crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, you watch this game here, and the Predators do own most of the momentum throughout this game.
Yeah.
Saros had a pretty strong game overall, as we've expected from him. You see a lot of the younger core of this roster make impacts. Philip Tomasino gets his first goal since being called back up. A very good-looking goal where if you follow the play from start to finish, Juuso Parssinen wins the faceoff in the neutral zone, gets it back to Tomasino. Tomasino plays a give-and-go game. Parssinen finds Tomasino. He skates in on a strong move to the net on the power play and finishes with a goal.
Yeah.
Can you bottle that up? The Preds power play has been a disaster, you know, for most of the year. And you see these young kids making something happen on the power play like that. Two of your future key pieces of this team is Philip Tomasino and Juuso Parssinen. And that was a huge positive that I took from this game was those two connecting for a goal.
Yeah, and it was, like you said, a really nice goal. And good to see him get back in the swing of things. I know everybody's been wanting him to be called up all season, and now there's tons of young guys on the team. So everybody who was wanting that should be definitely happy about that. So
for sure. And then, the first goal of the game was scored by Cole Smith, everyone's favorite Nashville Predator.
That poor guy, man. He just gets a bad rap. It's not fair to him. But
can I assume, Rich, that a Cole Smith jersey is in your mailbox?
No, I'm not buying any jerseys. I would buy like a Pecorine jersey, like have his name put on something. But as far as that, it's during the trade deadline, you definitely don't want to get any jerseys.
Well, I think you're safe on Cole Smith. He's going to be here for at least another year. Maybe. He was re-signed.
Maybe. You never know.
I don't know. I think if you flip over that Preds jersey behind you and we saw the back,
number 74.
Cole Smith.
That's number 74.
I do kind of agree with you, though. This whole Cole Smith thing is kind of getting a little tiresome. Yeah, everyone hates on. I get it. Everyone wants Philip Tomasino. I get it. He's not a prototypical starting player on a lot of great teams. I get all that. But it's kind of getting a little exhausting. Every day when I sign on to Twitter, unfortunately, the first tweet I usually come across is related to either Cole Smith or Ellie Tolvanen.
I'm tired of that. So, gosh, tired of that for sure. I think Cole Smith, he is what he is. He's a bottom six player. The reason people are mad about it, if you want to be mad at somebody, don't be mad at Cole Smith. Be mad at David Poile because he did the deal, and he's the reason why Tomasino is just now getting called up and why they signed Cole Smith. Don't be mad at Cole Smith. It's not his fault. So,
it's definitely not his fault. But, Cole Smith, I do think if you're being objective here, I've seen a gradual improvement in Cole Smith's game throughout the year. This might be a very not popular take from a lot of people. But if you look at it objectively, Cole Smith has improved throughout this season. Yeah. Does that mean that he should be taking roster spots from other players and that he should be an 82-game player like a lot of people make jokes about? I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Would he be starting for the Boston Bruins? No. Would he be starting for a lot of NHL teams who are hunting for the Stanley Cup? Probably not. I'll give you that.
No.
But I will say I see gradual improvement in Cole Smith's game. And naturally speaking, because the spotlight has been on him all this season, I try to watch Cole Smith every game. I really do. I try to watch him individually. I don't even focus on how the team is playing. I like to watch what is Cole Smith doing on the ice.
Yeah, for sure.
And let's go back to last night's game against Vancouver. When the game starts up, you're wondering, how are the Predators going to respond to a game like this? As a team, how are they going to respond? Because who the hell knows how they are going to respond?
Yeah.
With all the outside noise, with the trade deadline, you've probably got players who are wondering, am I going to be traded? It's only natural. It's only natural for some of these players to be wondering, where's my next destination? Where is my next home going to be?
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't imagine what it feels like to, in this time frame, for certain players who are on the trade block to think, oh, heck, in 2 weeks, I could be looking for a new home in a new city somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
So a player like Cole Smith comes out in this game and plays aggressive like he always does, and he gets an early goal for the Predators.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was good. I mean, it's good. I would have never guessed he'd be the opening scorer, but, it is what it is. Mike Twitter said, I didn't even want to look at Twitter after Cole Smith scored his first goal. I was like, no, you don't want to go look at Facebook. Facebook's way worse than Twitter. Trust me. And then Sean Butcher with the cool GIF. It's a GIF. It's not a GIF, though. He says, I get it. Ellie Tolvanen incident was horrible. It's awful how it was handled, but people need to let it go. Yes, sir.
Sean Butcher speaking to the choir over here.
Right. Max Greenberg said Cole Smith was playing really fast last night. And Sean again said Cole Smith probably played his best game. I remember the beginning of the season, he hit the post like 10 times or something. Like he was like, he kept just like getting good looks and just hit the post every time. And then he went a long time before he got his goal. So
I think his ceiling is definitely like a fourth line player in this league. But at the same time, I think this franchise has way bigger issues than just Cole Smith, you know?
Yep.
So we like to focus on Cole Smith, and I think the Ellie Tolvanen situation made it even worse. Collateral damage, if you will.
Yep.
But I'm always going to root for a guy like Cole Smith because he's the underdog, and I always root for underdogs.
For
so,
sure.
You know, I'm going to pull for him either way. But it was cool. I really did like the younger players making impacts in last night's game, though. Despite the late game collapse, last 90 seconds, the Preds give up 2 goals. It has to go to overtime. It has to go to a shootout. Matt Duchene has to get his little patented wrister out there to score a shootout goal.
That was a good shootout goal.
So I got a quick story to tell you. So I'm watching this game last night in a little sports bar in Key West, sitting next to a Red Wings fan. Not making this up. Sitting next to a Red Wings fan.
Wow. They're everywhere.
He comes off as when we're sitting down, he comes off as a very casual hockey fan. Like he just likes to watch hockey. We're sitting in one of those sports bars where they get all the games. So I could get the Preds game. There's all the TVs in front of you. So they found the Preds game for me. He's watching the Red Wings on his TV next to me. We're talking hockey. It's kind of fun. And he's spitting knowledge about the Predators that, quite frankly, I wouldn't expect a casual Red Wings fan to know about.
Wow.
He drills me on Ellie. He drills me on Ellie Tolvanen. He drills me on why he drills me on why Tanner Jeannot is not having the same year he was having last year. I'm like, wait a minute. I look at him. I'm like, wait a minute. Who are you a fan of? Are you a fan of the Red Wings or the Predators? Because you sound like you watch the Predators every game. This guy was smart. He knew his hockey.
That's awesome.
He was cool. He was a fun guy to watch a game with. So it goes into the shootout. And this guy, like Nostradamus, Matt Duchene's not even up yet. Like, he hasn't even, stepped up to the plate to take a shootout goal. This guy looks at me and goes, you know, if Matt Duchene gets a shootout attempt in this game, he's going to end it. His wrister is sick.
Wow.
Quote, unquote, he says Matt Duchene's wrister is sick.
Well, he's right.
So not 5 minutes later, Matt Duchene skates up, and I look at him. I'm like, all right, let's see how this works out. Duchene slips in, does exactly what this guy predicted. Red Wings fan predicts Matt Duchene to score a wrister.
Well, he did a good job.
Preds win.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was a little weird, the shootout lineup, I guess. They went with Mikael Granlund first, which he's not a noted shootout expert. And then Matt Duchene, obviously, and then Roman Josi. You don't see him very often either. So I think I might have went with some other folks, but it wound up working out. So it was good. It was good.
It did.
It worked
You'll take it how you can get it.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, in the standings, the Preds are still 7 points out right now.
Yeah.
Behind the Flames. The Flames are playing tonight, actually. What do we got going on in that game right now?
Score is tied up.
1-1 with those pesky Coyotes.
Those Coyotes, man, they're not going away.
Oh, and my guy. Oh. First of all, let's remind everybody that Rich and myself were playing each other in the semifinals of the Catfish on Ice Fantasy Hockey League.
Yeah, I screwed up too.
And my guy Nick Schmaltz of the Arizona Coyotes, not sure if you've heard of him. He was a late waiver wire pickup for me right before the playoffs. He has a goal for me tonight. So good job to Nick Schmaltz. of the Coyotes.
Yep. I think my run's going to end after this week. So
well, first of all, Rich, every time me and you play each other in fantasy hockey, it comes down to like 1 point.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be that way this time.
Well, you're beating me by 30 points right now.
Right now.
But the projected score says I'm going to win by 33 points. So take that for what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
And you only get to add 4 players per week, and I've already added 2 players. So I'm kind of screwed if it comes down to the weekend.
Yeah, I added a player, and he got hurt.
Which player was that?
Travis Konechny. I actually dropped Nino Niederreiter and picked him up because he was playing better. And then Nino Niederreiter gets a goal last night, and Travis Konechny's hurt. And then I also have Timo Meier, and he was hurt as well. I don't know if he's still hurt, but yeah, he's day to day. Yeah, that kills you. So we'll see what happens. We'll see.
All right. Let me also further expand on this Preds Canucks game. It's another game where UC Saros saves the bacon for the Predators. I know he gave up 4 goals.
He did give up some bacon now.
Let's keep it in perspective here, though. Those last 2 goals in those last 90 seconds, what was going on defensively there? How do you not win a puck battle? How do you just let them 6-on-5 zero in on you like that and get 2 tip-in goals? I know Saros is not completely blameless here, but he still had a 1.67 goal saved above expected. So according to Money Puck, Saros still had a very, very strong game.
I think they were having flashbacks to the Minnesota game. It's probably what it was. And that when they scored that first one, they all kind of looked like deer in the headlights. And, could not get the puck for anything. And they were just getting hammered. So it was ugly. I told my wife, I was like, they're going to lose this game. I was like, if it goes to a shootout, they're probably going to lose because Pettersson is he's a pretty awesome player for the Canucks. And it wound up, they pulled out the victory. So,
I mean, and also the Preds were facing a backup goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
Which a goaltender I've really never heard of. I'll be totally honest.
I haven't either. But, backup goaltenders usually play pretty well against Predators. So,
yeah,
that's always a thing. So,
I think the Canucks are definitely on NHL lottery watch right now. Let's be honest. They are on Connor Bedard watch here. Let's see how many ping pong balls we can get to improve our chances.
The old ping pong ball.
But it's not even about Connor Bedard. This draft is loaded. If you're picking in the top 10 in this draft, you got a really good chance of picking a generational forward.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
A lot of teams are thinking about that right now. A lot of teams are thinking about that.
Yep.
And here we have the Nashville Predators still trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they've got some generational forwards, don't they?
Love it.
There was I don't know if you heard it last night. I can't remember at what point of the game it was, but they said it was like midway through the second period, maybe. They said that this was before Ryan Johansen got hurt. Ryan Johansen, Matt Duchene, and Mikael Granlund did not have any shots on goal. And it was like halfway through the second period, I believe. Did you hear that stat?
I did. Yeah, I did.
I was like, that's $21 million skating around and they can't get a shot on goal. That was insane. I couldn't even believe that.
I mean, I honestly can't figure out what's going on with Mikael Granlund and why he refuses to shoot and why he is so gun shy.
Mm-hmm. Well, he had one shot on goal and it went in. So that was it for him. That was it. Matt Duchene had, let's see where he had one shot on goal the whole game, it says. Is that shot on goal? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, 1. And then Johansen, I don't even know what he probably wound up with. Nothing. Yeah, he had absolutely nothing, and then got hurt or whatever. So,
Yeah. Well, if you're looking at the goals on the Preds here, yes, you got goals from Granlund and Niederreiter, but if you look at the assist on all of these goals, Cody Glass and Juuso Parssinen assisted on Granlund's goal. Tommy Novak assists on Niederreiter's goal. Juuso Parssinen assist on Philip Tomasino's goal. And then Cole Smith, his original goal was assisted by Colton Sissons. And, hey, Jeremy Lauzon gets in on it here with a secondary assist. So all of the goals scored by the Predators was contributed in some way by what I would call a younger player on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
I'll even throw Jeremy Lauzon in there. So that was the best thing that you can take away from this game, despite
for sure
making it so ugly and having to go to a shootout to do it.
Parssinen actually had 2 assists. He got a secondary on Granlund's.
Parsonen's got 18 assists on the season. The guy is, I think he's like 5th on the team in assists right now. He's up there. Yeah.
I think with what's like, if the Predators, I mean, they still might not even make the playoffs. We know that is a very real possibility. Let these young guys play. Like I think you said it today. I think you put something on Twitter like, we'll take mistakes as long as we know, that we're building on the future or whatever. You got to let these young guys play, man. I mean, they're playing they're starting to gel and play well together, and you need to let that continue at least for the rest of the season.
And I'll kind of expand on that comment I made when we talk about Ryan Johansen's injury, because all of a sudden you've got some space here on the roster, and you've got to make a decision, and it adds another wrinkle to the trade deadline. It really does. I know we don't want to talk about that kind of stuff because we feel so bad about Johansen being out, and we wish him the best, and it sucks. It's a really crappy situation for him, but it does add a wrinkle to the trade deadline here with him being out. He wasn't a player that was going to be traded, so it doesn't impact it in that regard.
No.
But it does impact it in the sense of, is David Poile now thinking, wow, now I don't have Johansen either. What do I do now? Like, it does add another wrinkle to the trade deadline strategy.
Yep. Sean said, to see these young guys play more. Yes, I think that's what's probably we're going to wind up seeing.
By the way, I mentioned earlier Juuso Parssinen in terms of assists. He's got 18 assists on the season. That is indeed good for 5th on the team right now. As a rookie, he's only – and let me widen the scope out on that to make it even more impressive. He is 5th on the team while only playing 41 games. The 4 players ahead of him in assist have played 50 or more games.
Yep.
So Juuso Parssinen has been very efficient in his 41 games with 18 assists. The 4 players ahead of him in assists, Philip Forsberg, Mikael Granlund, Matt Duchene, Roman Josi. So you got 4 core veterans who have played significantly more games than Parssinen.
Yeah.
Or the only ones who are ahead of him in assist. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty cool watching Parssinen play because you can tell that he's kind of getting a groove to his game, and that's really awesome to see. That's really awesome to see. Him and Glass and Novak for that matter.
Well, and we saw it so quick too. That's the crazy thing is, I mean, Parsons' first game, he scores his first goal of his career. And it's just been – he's had a little bit of learning moments in a couple games. He's kind of been bouncing around and taking a frustration penalty maybe here and there, maybe got caught out of position here and there. But overwhelmingly, he has been very, very comfortable and way ahead of his age and his years.
The timeline or whatever. Yeah, I agree. He shouldn't feel bad about being caught out of position because lots of the Predators get caught out of position all the time.
That's right. All right. Thanks, everybody. This is episode 174 of Catfish on Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howe. Let's tell you about DraftKings, one of our amazing sponsors. Promo code THPN. NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat same game parlay every day. No sweat. I've been sweating a lot in Key West, I can tell you that. But this is a no sweat same game parlay. That sounds pretty damn good if you ask me. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, opt in and place a same game parlay on any NBA game, and if it doesn't hit, you'll get a free bet back. So you miss out, you lose. Hey, it happens to everybody. I can promise you, if you make me bet on an NBA game, I'm probably going to miss on the first one. Just going to throw that out there. My NBA knowledge is pretty weak. 90s NBA knowledge,
I would do a lot better, for sure.
I could be there for you.
Me too.
But today's NBA, I don't even know where these players go anymore. Like, the NBA trade deadline is like 1,000 times more exciting than the NHL trade deadline. I mean, you got Kevin Durant, you got superstars going everywhere in the NBA. Yep. I mean, Kevin Durant's been traded like how many times in the last like 3 years, and he's one of the best players in the league. He plays for Phoenix now.
Phoenix now. It used to be Oklahoma, right? That's where he started, right?
Oh, Oklahoma? Wow, you're way behind the times. Yeah,
I know, that's what I mean. I don't keep up with it.
Well, actually, technically, you're right, Rich. But he actually started off playing with the Seattle Supersonics, who became the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Did he really? Wow.
Well, the Seattle Supersonics relocated and became the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay.
But he was like,
he got drafted by the Seattle Supersonics.
Oh, okay. So it was like the first year they became. I gotcha.
Yeah, but you're on top of it. The Supersonics with the Rain Man, Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp used to dunk on people.
Gary Payton. Oh man.
The Glove. What a great nickname for a guy who used to just like lock down point guards. Gary Payton. That was a fun team.
That was a fun team.
Bring back the Supersonics. But yeah,
you got a hockey team.
That's our NBA knowledge right there. Oh yeah, just share an arena at the Climate Pledge Arena. Supersonics come back to Climate Pledge Arena.
It's the shell of the arena that the Supersonics played in, like the roof line and everything that the Kraken play in. It's the exact same roof and sides as when it was the same arena. Yeah, so it
makes sense. If I was one of those rich billionaires that didn't know what to do with all my money, I would bring the Supersonics back to Seattle. I would go sign me a slam dunking player who could replicate Sean Kemp.
Don Kemp.
And I would call him Rain Man 2.0. I would put that on a T-shirt somewhere, on a billboard. Mm-hmm. And then I would go find myself someone who can play defense like Gary Payton, and he would be the Glove 2.0, Larry Payton. There you go. We've already built a marketing strategy for
GMs. Look at that, NBA GMs.
I mean, I'm just saying. Awesome. So you can't bet on the Seattle. Unfortunately, you can't bet on the Seattle Supersonics with our promo code because they're not a team right now.
No.
But you could bet on the Oklahoma City Thunder because they're technically the old Supersonics.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Thunder are any good or not, so I couldn't really promise you that. But our point is you can bet on any NBA team with our promo code. So download the app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly. No, you can't bet on Allen Iverson. He doesn't play anymore. No, you can't bet on Michael Jordan. He doesn't play anymore. No, you can't even bet on Larry Bird. Larry Bird does not play anymore. If that's the last time you watched the NBA, then we need to get you caught up on NBA.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last game I watched.
They don't wear short shorts anymore, guys.
That's a good thing. It might have been the last time I really followed it may have been the last year the Bulls won the championship. So for sure, that's 98. That's been a while. So
we got to get you back on board here.
I doubt it. Probably not. I like hockey too much.
Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See our show notes for details. And, of course, go into our episode details and rundown. If you have a gambling crisis, need gambling help, there are phone numbers you can call to get that help you need. All right, we'll tell you more about Raycon, our other sponsor, also with promo code THPN here in a couple segments. Until then, let's get to my updated trade board.
Oh, yeah.
It's week 3. It's week 3 of my trade board here. I'm going to put it on the bottom of the screen. This is the first time Rich is seeing my trade board. I came up with my new trade board earlier today. It has changed a little bit. I still have the same player at number 1, though. All right, there it is.
Let's see.
I still got Dante Fabro at number 1.
I heard Tanner Jeannot and the Bruins.
And the Rangers.
And the Rangers.
The Rangers are being strongly linked to
Yeah.
Tanner Jeannot.
Yep. You know one that you don't have on there that I heard today? Nino Niederreiter to New Jersey.
So Niederreiter was on my board last week. I took Niederreiter off to make room for Tanner Jeannot.
Yep. So
if anything,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say real quick, if anything, I should probably take Kevin Lankinen off and put Nino Niederreiter in there. But I still think that there's a really strong chance that David Poile is going to deal a goaltender.
So what about Dante Fabro? What are the teams? Because I heard one and I couldn't remember who it was.
I haven't heard one team in particular that's strongly linked to Dante Fabro. I just feel like his net is going to be very, very wide in terms of – I don't think the Predators are going to get a lot in return. It's not going to be some type of big haul that's going to make you excited. But if the Predators want to move on from Dante Fabro, they shouldn't have a hard time finding some suitors for him because he's still young. He still has a high ceiling. He does a lot of good things on the defensive end. They could make him very enticing for a third pairing defenseman, which is what we've always said kind of, is that he's a third pairing defenseman. Probably shouldn't be on the top 2 pairings on a really good team. You've always said that, right, Rich, about Dante Fabro?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I just looked. Apparently, Elliot Friedman, everybody knows who he is, says that the Predators have explored moving Fabro, and they specifically referenced the San Jose Sharks.
That's weird.
which is a little weird. I agree. I don't know. That's strange.
All right. Well, Elliot Friedman knows more than any of us, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Are we just gonna ship all of our leftovers to the San Jose Sharks? Is that what we're doing these days?
Minnesota. We're gonna send them either to Minnesota or San Jose.
Well, okay. Crazy. So if San Jose were to get Dante Fabro, they would already have Matt Benning, right?
Yeah.
And then they've got Luke Cunnin, who has been hurt, unfortunately, for a while. But that just seems like a weird move from San Jose's perspective.
I don't know.
Like, wow.
I don't know.
But they are a team. They are a team that's trying to rebuild. So I guess I kind of understand it because you can get yourself a young defenseman. But
they're talking about moving Erik Karlsson too. So maybe. I know Dante Fabro's no Erik Karlsson, obviously.
Breaking news. Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a really odd marriage there between the Sharks and the Predators in terms of Dante Fabro. We'll have to wait and see. I think it's for sure that he gets traded, though. I don't see how he doesn't get traded.
Yeah, it feels like it for sure.
So. What do you think about David Poile calling the Preds day-to-day? And he refuses to use the word rebuild. He uses reset, day-to-day. He keeps
What did he
pushing
call
it
it last
further and
year?
further away.
What did they call it? A competitive
Rebuild.
competitive rebuild. Yeah.
Now he's just taking the word rebuild completely out of it. Now it's reset. And now it's day to day. So we're day to day.
He's just putting off the inevitable. I mean, this team they just do not gel well together. I don't know. Just something is wrong somewhere with this team, and it's not going to get any better. I mean, it's just not. It just doesn't feel like it's going to get any better. So, they need to explore other options at this point. And if he's going to be the one to reset the team, he needs to get on it and make it happen. If he's the one that's going to be at the helm of that project, because it needs to happen like now. So everybody's already mad enough as it is. So.
I think if you trade Dante Fabro, you have an easy player to move up in his place, and that's Jordan Gross.
Yeah.
And then you're waiting for Alexander Carrier to get back in the lineup. He's getting closer and closer. You ride out the season with Jordan Gross back in there after Dante Fabro is traded. You move on. You see what you got in Jordan Gross, who has already kind of shown some glimpses when he was up here. And he's doing well for Milwaukee. He's doing very well. Let me get to my second place player, which is Tanner Jeannot, which, I mean, I didn't even want to put him on my list last week. But he has jumped to number 2 because the trade buzz surrounding Tanner Jeannot is getting very, very, very hot right now.
It is.
Because there are a lot of teams out there who would love to add a Tanner Jeannot to their fourth line. He adds beef. He adds strength. You need those types of players in the playoffs, in the grueling grind that is the Stanley Cup playoffs. You need a Tanner Jeannot. And all these teams who are shopping right now, look at the Predators as a team that they've opened their shop. They've opened up the front door. They've got their little signs up in the window.
Yeah.
They're saying who's for sale. They got these little signs up in the window. Tanner Jeannot has just been put up into the window as for sale, I think, unfortunately. For all those Tanner Jeannot lovers.
Yeah.
It seems very, very likely he could be one of the ones that David Poile ends up trading away.
Yep. Michael Gallagher, a Nashville sports writer, said that the Rangers have had scouts at the Preds' last 2 games. I've heard they really like Tanner Jeannot should Nashville become a seller. So, I've definitely heard about the Rangers, but then today I heard that Boston, he could be linked to the Bruins, which seems weird to me, but I don't know why you would need to do anything, but whatever. But, I mean, he's not had a good season here. He had an excellent season last year, but then this year has just been bad for him. But other teams like his game, so he's definitely
there's going to be teams who look at Tanner Jeannot and they're going to think, okay, he's a product of his system. He's a product of a team. He's a product of a system that doesn't produce a lot of offense, doesn't make offense a priority, doesn't use a lot of speed, doesn't use a lot of, people forget that as much hate that Peter Laviolette got when he was coach of the Predators, this team was run and gun. They weren't always the fastest team, but they took chances. They took chances. And sometimes that would burn them on the other end. It would. Yeah. You had Pecorine on the other end most of those years, and he had to bail the team out because Peter Laviolette's system forced counterattacks. There would be counterattacks on the other end, but it was a fun style of hockey.
Absolutely.
It was feast or famine, though.
Yeah, you had your Victor Arvidsson,
Rocco
Grimaldi. He was fast. Craig Smith.
Yeah, you had a lot of good players like that.
Yeah, and you watch them now. You watch the guys now. They are very slow skaters.
It's dump and chase. It's dump and chase. It's dump and chase. Let's win a forecheck. Let's win the corner battles. let's play for the line change and sink back defensively and hope we get a turnover in the neutral zone. It's a lot of wait and see type of hockey, and it's very frustrating to watch because a lot of times that type of hockey predicates itself on your goaltender completely saving your ass.
Yep, and that's what happens.
So
9 times out of 10, yeah, for sure, it's crazy.
So Tanner Jeannot could very easily go to another team. I'm not saying he'd be a 20-plus goal scorer, but he could go to another team and have much better numbers and still be the same type of valuable player to his skill set, which is, let's face it, a lot of teams are not as physical and tough as the Nashville Predators. They've got all the skill, they've got all the speed, but they don't hit, they don't fight, they don't lay the body. So there are a lot of teams out there, maybe even a Boston type of team, who would love to have Tanner Jeannot added to their roster.
Yeah.
So I could see it happening. I'm starting to become more and more a believer of that.
Yeah. I mean, it could for sure happen. And then there's Matthias Ekholm.
I had Matthias Ekholm at number 5, I think, on my last trade board. I barely had him on my board. I moved him up this week because – I mean, the talk's getting louder and louder.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's really all about how much David Poile believes in this team. If he doesn't believe in this team, if he finally comes to the conclusion that this team is going nowhere and he has to do something drastic, then you absolutely have to trade Matthias Ekholm. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He out of all the people that you could move, he is the most valuable, obviously.
For sure.
So, yeah, I mean, you see people linking him to lots of teams. It's always usually the Maple Leafs is one, Edmonton's one. I've heard, or seen it on Twitter.
Edmonton's going to be a buyer. The Rangers have already been a buyer. They've already gotten Vladimir Tarasenko. They're going to buy again. Their window is now. It's been made very clear that the New York Rangers, their window is now. You're looking for teams whose window is open now. We haven't brought up the Dallas Stars.
No.
Their window is clearly now. Now, I don't know if the Predators are going to I don't know if the Predators are going to trade with the Central Division team for some of their players, but don't leave out the Dallas Stars. They're buyers for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard they were in on a potential Patrick Kane,
which we're going to hit on here in a few. But yeah, rounding out my list here, I've got Mikael Granlund still on there just because at this point, I don't even care what we get out of him. Just trade him.
It sucks too because I really like him, and I just don't know what's going on with him. So
just give me like a sack of nickels and a gift card to Kohl's.
Some pucks.
No, give me a $25 gift card to like Kohl's so I can buy like a new shirt or a pair of jeans. Kohl's Cash, or maybe an Amazon gift card. I don't know. What would be worth it? I don't know for Mikael, because it's not even about Mikael Granlund anymore. He doesn't fit with this team anymore. So just move on from him.
Yeah, I think it's time.
So
it might be time.
He's still on my radar to get dealt. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he goes somewhere. Don't be shocked if it's not a great return, though. And then I've still got Kevin Lankinen on my list because if I was running things right now, and thank God I'm not, but if I was,
things would look a lot
different. Well, I'm just saying it could be for worse. I don't know. But I'm just saying I would trade Kevin Lankinen.
Somebody would want Kevin Lankinen for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of comes back to the Philip Forsberg thing of last year, not on the same scale, but remember when we were all arguing about losing Philip Forsberg for nothing? We didn't want him to go to offseason as a free agent because we were worried we were going to lose him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no negotiations with Kevin Lankinen this offseason.
No.
If he makes it to the offseason as a free agent, he's going somewhere else.
He will, for sure. Yeah. he might like playing here or whatever, but he's definitely
he's not going to stay a backup. He's not going to stay a backup.
No, he's definitely redeemed his career for sure. So
yeah, so I'm thinking trade him, bring
get something,
Yaroslav Askarov up,
let him play. Yep,
and let it go. Then you can see what you have in your two future franchise goaltenders here. You know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Live and die with the consequences.
You just became the darling of Predators Facebook.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
They love you now for what you just said.
I don't know if I like that.
Bring up Starov for sure.
It's kind of hard for me to not put Nino Niederreiter. He was on my list last week, but I took him off.
Oh, I wanted that to work out so bad. I don't know. I think he'll if he's a good player. I wanted him to work here so much, but and it has a little bit, but the whole team just struggles. So he's going to struggle too.
He'd be an easy player to move.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
he's got 1 year left on his contract.
Carolina would probably take him back.
Probably. So that's my trade board there. Let us know who's on your trade board. If I left anybody off that you disagree with, or you want to take someone off my list and add someone in, comment right now on YouTube or comment on Twitter. Hit us up at Catfish Ice and let us know who I'm leaving out. We would love to hear from you on the live stream or after the episode. If you're still watching this episode later on the replay, you can still comment. Hit us up at Catfish Ice. Comment on YouTube as well. Because this is a really fun topic. Because the Predators have so many players. It's really hard to narrow it down to 5 players. Let me tell you, it really is. That's what makes this topic so fun every week. Yeah.
Because if you think about it, there's only really a handful of players who are even safe from they can't be moved anyway. So I think everybody's on the table, it seems like, except for those few select players. So it's exciting time of the year. Trade deadline always is exciting. So love it.
Absolutely. All right, Rich, let's move on here in episode 174 of Catfish on Ice, presented by DraftKings and Raycon Global Wireless Earbuds. Promo code THPN for offers on both of our amazing sponsors. Rich, how are you feeling about the current playoff picture right now as the Predators are 7 points out?
Every passing day, man, just gets – it's like they're in a hole and they can't dig out. So I don't know. Every day seems like it's just getting worse and worse, even though they did win, but they're still 7 points back, and that's a pretty big deficit. So I don't know. What do you think? How are you feeling about it?
So I am thinking that I'm thinking basically what I've been thinking for months and months now is that this is going to come down to probably the last 2 weeks of the season. Mm-hmm. They're going to keep us clinging on. They're not going to completely bow out. They've got a pretty favorable upcoming schedule here. Of course, we've seen them lose to teams they should beat, so that doesn't mean anything necessarily. But they're going to stay just close enough in the standings to keep us interested.
Yep.
Up until the very end.
That's what happens every year.
I think the real roster movement and shakeup, even going as far as maybe even letting go of John Hines, isn't going to happen until this offseason.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're not going to do that right now. There'd be no point in it. Really, if you think about it, just let him finish out this year. You're going to have to pay him regardless. So might as well just let him stay. But I think if they don't make the playoffs, I think they'll definitely get rid of him, get rid of Hines. The experiment is going to finally come to an end.
Oh, wow. You think if the Predators miss the playoffs that they're going to move on from John Hines?
I think so. I mean, why would – it's
They would have to terminate his contract with 1 year left.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, teams do that all the time.
Yeah,
that's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, you just think about it. It'll be Poyle gave him, regardless of how the players are playing, Poyle gave him on paper a better team this year. They haven't performed up to expectations. This will be the first year the Predators would miss the playoffs in how many years is it? Lots.
It's been 8 years in a row they've made the playoffs. This would be 9 years. It'd be 9 years in a row if they made the playoffs this year.
Yeah. So this would be the first time in 9 years of them not going. I don't know. I just think it feels like it would be time to cut the cord, I think, but could be wrong for sure. What do you think? You think he'll keep him on if they don't make the playoffs?
I'm kind of torn on it, honestly, because it really feels like David Poyle is completely loyal to John Hines to the point where he would almost be willing to give him another year. You got to think, David Poyle has never been the GM that just moves on from head coaches. John Hines is the third head coach in this franchise's history. He stood tall with Barry Trotz through all those years. And then, honestly, when he let go of Peter Laviolette in January 2020, that completely surprised me at the time. I thought for sure, as bad as it was looking, I thought for sure that Laviolette would make it to the offseason. He fired him in mid-season like that. I could not believe it. And then what really soured me about the whole situation, and I remember it clearly at the time, was how quickly he rushed into hiring another head coach and didn't go the interim route.
Yep.
The way he just rushed to hire John Hines, who wasn't really no offense to John Hines, but had not accomplished anything as a head coach. Yeah. And he rushed to hire him so fast mid-season. Yep. And to Hines' credit, he did rally the team. That led up to the COVID shutdown. We remember all of that. Yeah. We remember the team losing in the Stanley Cup qualifiers to the Coyotes.
Yeah. And then a good year last year for 3/4 of the year. That last quarter bit them. But yeah, I don't know. If they did get rid of him, I know a lot of people would be happy. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I would love to see Dan Hinote get a look.
I think
when he does his mid-game little interviews on the sideline, I love the energy he brings. I love his players coach mentality he has, which a lot of people say John Hines is a players coach. So I don't know.
Yeah. Hino has that energy that John Hines doesn't have. He doesn't show any emotion, but Dan Hino definitely shows all the emotion, and people like him for that, I think. So
definitely.
I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy time. You never know what's going to happen. For sure.
All right. So, 12% chance of making the postseason now per Money Puck for the Predators. So low. For being 7 points out, that is such a low probability.
With how many games there are left, for sure. But then, depending on what they do at the trade deadline, that could definitely, solidify the 12% and make it even lower. You just don't know.
Definitely.
Depending on who they could get rid of. So
let's move on here to the next segment of the podcast, and that is the unfortunate injury to Ryan Johansen. It's looking like he's out for the season. He got blasted by a shot that hit him off Jeremy Lauzon's stick, first of all. Watching it real time, how bad did Jeremy Lauzon miss that shot to hit Ryan Johansen?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, Johansen was like way off to the side of the net and somehow I don't know if it got tipped or deflected, but somehow Johansen got hit by the puck there.
He saw it coming because he like turned his back to it and it nailed him right in the side.
And then
the back part.
I don't think that was actually the injury that forced him out of the game, though, right?
No, for sure.
It's kind of up in the air, but Rich, what was it? He took a skate blade?
So it looked like a skate blade hit him around the Achilles area. They still haven't said what's wrong with him, but I know they said he had surgery today, emergency surgery. And even though the Predators haven't said it, other people on Twitter said it, he'll be out the rest of the season. That would point to, if in that area, you would think it would be an Achilles problem. So, the back of the blade just hit him right in the back of his ankle area down there, and it just, he just immediately knew that he was hurt. So he was struggling. I saw him limping down the hallway with 2 guys trying to help him walk. He was in a bad way. So sucks.
So with him out for the season, so with him likely out for the season, you got to think that Philip Tomasino is here to stay now.
That'll make everybody happy, for sure.
And then even when Philip Forsberg gets back into the lineup, whenever that happens, you've still got another roster spot now available with Johansen out, who was a regular in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think the Predators do here, Rich? First of all, what would you do, and what do you think Poile ends up doing? 2 different questions.
Golly. What do? You definitely leave Tomasino up for sure.
That's no-brainer.
I would assume you would start looking at a middle.
Do you give another young? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you give another young, unproven player his NHL debut, or do you dip your toes back into the players we've already seen this year? Mark Jankowski cleared waivers. Kiefer Sherwood scored the first goal of the Predators season.
That was it. I don't know, with their playoff chances so low, I would look at my next best player who hasn't been called up at all.
Lucas Spiza still on this team.
Lucas Spiza. I would get him, or see if what's his name? The defenseman guy. Anyway, I would look at the next best player for Milwaukee and bring him up probably. I would assume that's Igor. But I don't know. I don't keep up with Milwaukee as much, so I would think it would be him. Is that what you're thinking?
Igor Afanasyev for sure.
There you go.
They already, in the preseason, they already hinted at it. They even told on the what was it called? The Behind the Glass. Was that the name of the show?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was all like, "I'm ready to go," and they were like, "Nah, you're not ready." So, but I think that's what you need to do. What's David Poile going to do? Who knows? There's you never know what he's going to do. If I had to guess, I would say they'd probably bring up somebody we've already seen, like your Mark Jankowski or whoever else, Sherwood, I guess. History kind of tells us that's probably what it'll be. Yeah, but what I would do is bring up somebody and let them get some experience. If you know you're probably not going to make the playoffs anyway, let some other guys get some NHL experience.
Yeah, Igor Afanasyev seems like someone you should really think about bringing up right now in this situation.
Definitely.
And you bring him up, you live with the consequences, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier in the tweet you brought up that I put out there.
Yep.
I can live with losing if you're investing in the long-term future. I can't live with losing if you keep throwing out fringe players who aren't a part of this long-term future to begin with.
Yep. Yeah, I agree 100% with that.
So you've already You've already really benefited heavily by bringing up Parsonen and Glass and Novak, and now Tomasino's back up. So you got 4 players who likely are a key part of your future already playing heavy minutes.
Yep.
It's unfortunate circumstances right now. But now that Johansen's out, you have another opportunity to bring someone else up who's a part of your long-term future. Now Igor Afanasyev might come up here and be completely not ready, and he might make some really bad mistakes and cost you a game or cost you a couple goals. It might happen. I'm not saying it won't happen.
Yeah.
But you got to give the kid an opportunity because he was already in the running to make the roster in preseason.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think the fans – and it touches on what you said. The fans will definitely accept losses easier that way, for sure. Because you're building, you're letting these guys get used to playing with each other. Yeah, they're playing well together. Obviously, they are the ones you mentioned are now. Bring up another one. Let him learn with these guys as well and make the mistakes. Because if you're not going to make the playoffs, what's it matter? I mean, it's not in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't matter, and you will definitely make your fan base happy because everybody wants to see these young players playing anyway. So,
absolutely,
yep.
We'll have to see what happens. We're going to learn more about this probably on Thursday ahead of the game against the San Jose Sharks. That's the next game for the Predators on the schedule. And I'm sure we will get an update from the team on the extent of the Ryan Johansen injury, but it doesn't sound pretty. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the year.
Probably ugly.
And we'll probably see what kind of roster moves come out of that, who they call up. We're going to find all that out on Thursday ahead of the game. So we will be watching for that. All right, let's do some NHL quick hitters to round out episode 174, brought to you by DraftKings and Raycon, promo codes THPN for offers on both of those outstanding products and sponsors of the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Catfish Ice. Hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. All right, first NHL quick hitter of the night is Patrick Kane. Remains a top target as the NHL trade deadline approaches. We've got the Leafs, we've got the Rangers, we've got the Oilers, the Dallas Stars are getting in on it. The sweepstakes for Patrick Kane is very, very wide right now. He can go anywhere. And he holds a lot of cards.
He scored a hat trick the other night. So still got some weapons.
Great player. I mean, he's still a great player. And if he fills out a team's top 6, you think about him filling out a top 6 for the Oilers or the Leafs or the Bruins. I didn't even bring up the Bruins.
Oh, yeah. That would be insane.
He could still end up going to the Bruins. Now, I will say his 2 preferred teams, he has stated, is the Leafs and the Rangers.
Yep.
But now the Oilers are starting to get in on the mix.
And Dallas is starting to get in on it. Yeah, for sure.
Dallas is out. Well, Dallas has to be a buyer. Dallas knows that, here's the thing about Dallas. They're in first place in the division, but they're having to win a lot of games in overtime lately.
Yeah.
They have not looked like a dominant team lately. And a lot of their fan base is starting to notice it. And they're starting to realize we gotta buy.
Yeah,
we gotta buy. Sure. If we're gonna actually win a Stanley Cup this year, we're gonna have to buy. They lost to Columbus in their last game 4-1. They lost to Minnesota 2-1. They lost to Boston. They've actually lost 4 games in a row.
Oh wow!
They're on a 4-game losing streak. Dallas is.
Yeah. Boston went through that a little bit too. Maybe they'll right the ship. Dallas will, but as far as
they're tied 3-3 with the Blackhawks right now.
Wow.
Patrick Kane's got 2 goals tonight.
All right.
Wow. Second intermission, the Blackhawks and the Stars are tied 2-2. Patrick Kane scored 2 goals in the second period. The Blackhawks have scored 3 unanswered goals to tie this game at 3. They were down 3-0 in this game going into the second period. I'm telling you.
Greenberg said Dallas apparently was up 3-0. They blew a 3-goal lead.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just telling you right now, Dallas is kind of a mess right now, and I think they're starting to realize it. So they're definitely one of those teams that has to buy right now.
Wow.
Their window is open now, and it's not going to stay open for long. So
that's crazy.
How funny would that be if the Stars end up getting Patrick Kane a couple days after he just roasted them for 2 goals in the same period?
Would be funny. That would be hilarious, really actually.
Funny. I don't think he ends up at Dallas. I'm going to ask you who you think he ends up with, but I'm going to first of all, we put a poll out. Let me share the poll. Put a poll out on the Pred Lines page. Let me update the poll results because it's a pretty big NHL trade deadline question right now. So Patrick Kane is owning the NHL trade deadline storylines. Where does he end up? Our four choices was Rangers, Leafs, Oilers, or somewhere else. And right now, somewhere else is winning the vote by 41%. 31% says the Rangers, 21% says the Oilers, 8% says the Leafs. Which is funny because I think he ends up on the Leafs.
Maybe. I don't understand. I don't see how they can afford to get anybody, truthfully. I don't follow all the money. I guess it would be some crazy maneuvering like they did to get Ryan O'Reilly from St. Louis. That was a crazy.
They can maneuver trade to make it happen. And I can tell you that Patrick Kane would love to play for a storied franchise like the Maple Leafs. His legacy is on the line. He cares about his personal legacy. For him to join a team that's already loaded as it is. Yeah. And the Leafs are such a starving franchise to finally win a playoff series and to finally win their first cup in how many decades? 1950,
60s or something, 50s or 60s. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it's 1950 something.
Was it?
But
wow, that's crazy.
But I could see him going to the Rangers. Gosh, if he goes to Dallas, I'm going to be so annoyed.
Yeah,
if he goes to Dallas. Because that's a power move for Dallas if they can pull off getting Patrick Kane.
Yeah. 1967 for the Maple Leafs.
Okay.
Was the last time they won.
But that would be a huge power move for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah. If he
Oilers,
went to
if he went to the Oilers, they were talking about it. If he went to the Oilers, they were saying how much it would make sense for them because then you can move Draisaitl and McDavid on the same line and put Evander Kane and Patrick Kane on the second.
Oh man, I think out of all of them, it would make sense, like personnel wise, to go to Edmonton.
The two most hated. The two most hated Canes in all sports would be on the same line.
That would be great.
But yeah, I don't know.
He went to the Maple Leafs, man. That would be huge for them because they're already stacked. And Ryan O'Reilly scored a hat trick in like his first or second game when he went to play for them. Get Patrick Kane in the mix with that'd be tough. The Bruins would have trouble with them probably for sure. So I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. All right, Rich, I got my surprise trivia question for you.
Man, let's see how well
we're gonna round out. We're gonna round out episode 174 of Catfish on Ice with a couple more quick hitters here. The first one. All right, Rich. I just need you to name one of these. I need you to name me one of these players on this list, okay?
Okay.
So the fastest players in NHL history to 800 career points, Connor McDavid just joined this list, all right? He did it in 545 career games to reach 800 points. He is the 5th fastest player to reach 800 career points. Name me one. No. Actually, I'm gonna tell you the first one. It's Wayne Gretzky. I'm not gonna make it that easy on you. Wayne Gretzky's the fastest at 352 games. Connor McDavid just reached the milestone in 545 games. Name me one of the three other players who are fastest to 800 points.
Oh, wow, that's tough.
I'm giving you a 1 out of 3. Come on now. I'm not asking you to name all three.
I have no idea.
All right, get in the comments if you're not cheating, people. We'll give Rich
somebody
some time
tell me, help me out because I have no clue. I really don't know. I would.
Hey, while you're thinking about it, keep thinking about it.
Okay.
I'm going to share Chris's comment here.
Oh, yeah.
Howdy, boys, from Chris and Lindsay, and big congrats to Chad on a hard-fought victory last week in our fantasy playoffs. That matchup was bonkers, Chris.
Yeah.
I was scrambling like crazy to figure out a way to beat you. And that was a really fun fantasy hockey matchup. I dropped players. You get 4 player ads per week. I dropped 4 different players to make sure I figured out a way. I thought Andre Vasilevsky was going to lose it for me on one of the last games of the week. He gave up 4 goals in the first period. Did you see that game, Rich?
I did not, but that doesn't happen very often.
He gave up 4 goals in the first period, and goaltenders can lose you points. And at this point, Vasilevsky was at like minus 10 points for me.
Wow.
He ended up rallying to like get me like +2 or something like that, but he was literally losing the matchup for me. So, Chris, it was a very well-fought matchup. Now I got to worry about Rich, Lincoln's burner account.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
I think you're just very humble.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That's what it is. It's close.
I do have Patrick Kane, and he scored 2 goals, so that's helpful.
I don't like that. Yeah, you're whooping me right now. But the projected score is now within 12 points.
I saw that. I need David Pastrnak to just go off next time they play.
Your team is loaded.
And then I need Linus Ullmark to have a shutout. That would be amazing. That would help me out a lot.
Okay.
Back to the trivia. Do I know who they are? I mean, would I know them? Is it old guys?
Truthfully speaking, I know for a fact that you know 2 of these 3 players.
Wow. Wow. I really don't. I would
just think about some historically great scoring players in this league. Historically great.
Jaromir Jagr. Is he one of them?
It's a really good guess, but no.
Historic great scorers.
Just some of the all-time greats. Fastest to 800 career points.
Is one of them a Bruin?
No.
Gosh, man.
All right. We're gonna break the suspense here. It was a really hard question.
That is hard.
So Wayne Gretzky did it in 352 games. He's the fastest.
Okay.
Next up is Mario Lemieux.
Oh, there you go.
He did it in 410 games. Max Greenberg threw in a guess and said Ovechkin, which is another really good guess, but no.
Not fastest.
Mike Bossy did it in 525 games.
Okay.
And Peter Stastny did it in 531 games. And then you got Connor McDavid doing it in 545 games. That is crazy to think about how much Connor McDavid is putting up video game numbers these days, and he is still almost 200 games slower than Wayne Gretzky's pace.
Yeah. Wayne Gretzky, man, did it with those wooden sticks, and
it's just crazy, man.
Harder game, way rougher game back then, for sure. That is crazy.
Also, it's really funny, Rich. So I'm playing my NHL 22 franchise. I don't have the new NHL game yet, but I'm still doing the NHL 22 franchise with the Predators, right? And I told you guys how Lucas Spiza, the legend of Lucas Spiza, lives on, right?
Lives on for the Predators.
You get to play with the Milwaukee Admirals when you do your franchise mode. on NHL
cool.
22, and Lucas Spiza was on the Admirals, right? And he was good. Like this dude's like unstoppable, right? And so
in a video game.
I'm starting the new season now. It's a new season.
Oh, that's cool.
And I've called up Lucas Spiza to the NHL squad. And he scored his first NHL goal. On a slap
Lucas
shot.
Spiza
Only in video game land can Lucas Spiza score a goal for the Nashville Predators.
Dude played one game for Nashville.
Hold on. Before we end the episode, I'm gonna send you an image, Rich, of it to prove it. So look for it in your inbox right now because it's really funny. So you don't think I'm making this up. It's actually quite hilarious. Because that's always been the inside joke of this franchise or of this podcast is Lucas Spiza and the impact of this franchise.
We used to bring him up every episode
for no reason whatsoever, just like we are now. Whatsoever. All right, so I just sent it to you. You can pull it up.
Oh, look at that first career goal.
I don't know if you can add it to the stream. I don't know if it'll let you.
Yeah, I don't have it saved. That's awesome though. Number 55.
So he lives on.
There you go. Man, that's correct. That's awesome.
All right. Let's close out the episode with Gary Bettman saying he's clearly committed to Arizona hockey for the next 30 years.
That is insane. I've never heard of anything like that before.
Was that like a hostage video? Did someone put a gun to his head and say, you got to say the next 30 years?
So does that mean like for as long as Arizona's been around, that's been in place, or is that just now?
I don't know.
He told them.
I just came across it.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. I'll have to look that up and read that article. HookedOnHockey.com has it on there.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman confirms that the Coyotes have a 30-year non-relocation agreement with the NHL. Wow. That's got to be
I don't know a lot about Hooked on Hockey magazine though. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not saying one way or the other whether they're like a reliable source, but that's interesting.
It's very interesting.
We can't talk too much smack though because the Coyotes beat the Predators in the last game, so and we get to see
the Coyotes are actually playing really well.
They've been playing really well, Inspired Hockey. They're clearly not tanking and losing on purpose. We'll give them that.
No, I don't think that's a thing, but
no, I don't think hockey players do that.
No, nor should they. They don't want to do that. So,
all right, everyone. It's been a really
5-1-4 in their last 10. It's not bad.
Very good. Yeah, they're a team you don't really want to play. They can play the spoiler role down the stretch for sure. They're not going anywhere this season, but they can. They're gonna spoil some playoff runs for a few teams down the stretch, including maybe the Predators.
That's
all right, everyone. It's been a fun episode. This has been episode 174, presented by DraftKings and Raycon, part of the Hockey Podcast Network. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. This has been Chad Mitten and Rich Howe, your hosts. Thanks and take care, everyone. We'll see you next week for a new episode. Take it easy.